Racism has always been an issue in the world. One of the most horrible examples of racism was apartheid. Apartheid literally means apartheid or separateness. Segregation had began in South Africa ever since the Dutch first colonized there in the 17th century. However, apartheid did not fully come into legislation until 1948 when the all-white National Party of South Africa gained power. They immediately began enforcing racial segregation and discrimination against the blacks. They passed 317 laws that formally established institutional discrimination throughout South Africa. By 1950, any type of interracial sexual relations were strictly forbidden. The Population Act of 1950 categorized South Africans between whites, blacks, colored, or Asian. This policy often split families. Parents could be classified as white while their children were classified as colored. Prime Minister Dr. Hendrik Verwoerd promoted a policy known as separate development, which created 10 homelands for blacks and legalized the deportation of blacks to one of these homelands, essentially disenfranchising them. Between 1961 and 1994, more than 3.5 million black South Africans were deported to one of these homelands, where they lived in poverty and hopelessness. None of these policies came without resistance. The ANC, or African National Congress, which included Nelson Mandela, was the biggest opponent to apartheid laws. They tried peaceful resistance, however, nonviolence did not last for long. In 1960, the Sharpeville Massacre occurred. Police opened fire on protesters who were part of the ANC. 69 were killed and another 187 were wounded. The ANC faced another defeat when 4 years later, Mandela and other leaders were sentenced to life in prison on the charges of sabotage. With Mandela gone, more apartheid laws were passed, such as the 1970 Bantu Homeland Citizenship Act, which stripped 8 million blacks of their citizenship. In 1976, another violent outbreak occurred in Soweto. Police again attacked nonviolent protesters with tear gas and bullets. The official government death toll was 176. However, many believe the actual number of casualties to be somewhere around 700. This additional violent outbreak drew more international attention to South Africa and shattered all illusions that apartheid had brought peace or prosperity to the nation. Throughout this time, the United Nations was putting pressure on South African government to stop apartheid. In 1980, the UN Security Council officially condemned police violence in South Africa, calling the government to end apartheid, grant equal rights to all citizens, and release all political prisoners, including Mandela. In 1983, yet another anti-apartheid organization was formed, the United Democratic Front, or UNF, with Archbishop Desmond Tutu as one of the most influential members. He won the Nobel Peace Prize the year after for his efforts in stopping apartheid. However, the South African government wouldn't go down without a fight. In 1985, they declared a state of emergency in order to suppress the growing momentum of anti-apartheid movements. Troops were deployed to the black homelands, thousands of protesters were arrested, and most political organizations were banned. In response, the UK and United States placed economic restrictions on South Africa. For the first time, South Africa began relieving enforcement of some apartheid laws. All of this led to the election of F.W. de Klerk in 1989, who repealed the Population Registration Act and eliminated most of the legal basis of apartheid. In addition, he lifted the ban on the ANC and freed many political prisoners. In 1990, Mandela was finally freed after 27 years in prison. In 1991, apartheid laws were finally repealed, and negotiations occurred, pushing South Africa to a multicultural government. In 1992, Klerk and Mandela finalized the Record of Understanding, which called for a democratically elected government to create a new constitution. Mandela was later elected president in 1994, thus officially ending apartheid, one of the most heinous examples of racism in human history.